How am I gonna predict against NRG, dude? How am I gonna predict against NRG?
Are you going to?
No, I'm not. Of course I'm not. I got NRG taking this one. I feel like Torrent's gonna give them a run for their money, though. They have been looking pretty good, Bass.
That's it? That's the yes. All right. Okay, fair enough. All right. I mean, listen, here's what I'm going to say. Remember how I had this guy before? Like, you know, the whole... Oh, you cut away just at the wrong time. Remember I had the NRG hoodie before? It's getting thrown to the wayside here. I'm backing Torrent to take this one. And again, it's for a number of different reasons. One, Torrent, an underwhelming performance in their last event here on the AAA Challenger Series. It was our last event of the year before we got into only the Super Challengers and the Championship at the end of the summer. Because of that, I think they are going to come in here with a ferocity like no other. Yes, NRG need to take a win here or in the tiebreaker just to get themselves into that 35K championship at the end of summer. But at the end of the day, Torrent want this. They have not been able to prove themselves throughout the season, so can they do it here and now? Game number 1 of this best of 7 is officially underway, and oh my, am I excited for this one.
Oh, Magic Bear apparently is too. Almost the flip reset there, gets challenged early. But it's worth mentioning as well, NRG not only playing for themselves, but playing to knock out all mid, who need NRG to lose both this match and the tiebreaker if they want a chance at that main event guarantee, though. We'll find the right side of that. They don't have any losses in their plans today, Bass.
No, they do not, and you can understand why. When they're getting offenses like this, Magic Bear just sort of left at the whim of where does Garrett shoot this. Perfectly placed off the bar and in, and that's what makes this team so difficult to try and beat. They just don't make mistakes. They've had a couple of double commits here and there, but for the most part, this is a team that is so set in stone that you're honestly surprised when any sort of errors even occur. Oh, wait a minute. That's a double commit, though. This could be open, but not if Justin dives in last second. I don't even know why I was worried. Of course Justin's there.
And why not? Magic Bear, though, looking at that attack. I mean, originally it was Zenil over top of the last player, the young gun. The one you're particularly a fan of, I might add, Bass. It might give you a little bit of bias. I don't think I have to say it, but maybe a little bit of Torrent bias. They are looking good, though. So far on the attacking side, can say. Maybe you're looking towards the net on that one, but Justin is there to cut it out. Really no surprises on that one. I think one of the biggest things we noted in NRG's first series of the day against Hebro was that really the win condition for Hebro was to get out onto the attacking side and try to suffocate NRG, which, you know, as tall an order that may be, Torrent may be a little bit more up to the challenge.
I mean, honestly, the reality is, though, is not many teams in the planet that can make NRG uncomfortable. And, well, there are a couple of teams, apparently, that can start to poke holes in the side of Torrent's defense here. One of them being NRG. Boomer downfield, and I just gotta wonder what happened to the defense.
Well, I gotta be honest. I think that challenge to take it off of the hood of Garrett's car was not necessarily expected to go straight over to Mist, who happened to have that free line out to the net. So I think... Am I gonna do it? Maybe a little bit unlucky. I'm sorry, dude. Okay, yeah, I know. Luck in Rocket League doesn't exist. But still, this just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and the Torrent defense nowhere close to being in the right place at the right time. So they will concede goal number 2. We'll see what they can bring to the table, though. Again, it has been not a terrible game for them. Theoretically, Magic Bear up for this one. No chance to double tap down in the middle, though, and Zenil is there to put it away. That's number 1 for Torrent.
Yeah, not too surprising. You could see that the aggression was starting to build a little bit more, making the uncomfortability at NRG a little bit more exposed, and as Zenil just reads that drop down from the backboard all too easily, that will slam it home and finally find the first goal for Torrent here. They did it halfway through this game, so they do have a lot of time left to try and turn this one around, but this kind of goes to show you why this is going to be a very different series than the last one we saw against Hebro. NRG came out the gates firing in their last series, and this one, they're giving a lot of respect to Torrent. They've played this team before. They've actually got a very recent history against Torrent. If I'm not mistaken, last time these two teams faced up, I don't think that it was NRG that walked away with a win. So as much as it's also about the summer and about the AAA Challenger Series, it's also about the overall narrative between the two teams, and Magic Bear, he's going to write his chapter in the history books.
Well, I liked the idea from Mist, but they spawned off the face-off. Oh my goodness. They spawned off the demolition, and it was all they could do to get out to that ball. Valiant effort. But the angle was just not favorable. The demolition play coming in strong for Torrent, and they tie things up.
Can they do anything further with this one as they're getting pressed into their own half? Justin met with a 50-50 on the line, and as Garrett G booms this one across, I don't think it was necessarily the touch he was looking for. Maybe he just didn't quite choreograph that with the rest of his team. This has been the biggest issue we have seen for NRG today. While their shooting has been lethal, their defense has been impeccable. Their rotations have had a lot of issues. They have double committed far more often than you expect, and communication just has not been there. This is decent communication as Justin is back for this one, but someone's got to follow up this touch. Eventually, Garrett G will dive on the ball, but Smashgg can easily collect this one out of midfield and cause some confusion as all three players from NRG approach that ball, and none of them really sure who wants to make the challenge. Again, this is going to be the big issue for NRG here, is because they do not have Squishy, the cohesion amongst this trio is not going to be the same as they usually have. Despite Mist being a phenomenal player, again, a player that's going to London in just under 2 weeks' time, it's still going to be very difficult for them to find the same sort of rotations that they normally have.
Not only that, but the crafty play we're seeing from Torrent so far, particularly individually driven. We talk about all the talent on this team. Kinsey, Zanil coming in as the new player on the block, and almost scoring right here as Smashgg, the one I had yet to call out, put this team on the map and is able to put them in the lead here.
I mean, honestly, Smashgg, it's a beautiful shot, but just everything from Zanil there. Drifts it around Mist as he recognizes that that's going to be at least one more touch. And as Garrett has to commit because he doesn't know if it's on target or going high, all Smashgg needs to do is dive in, have full faith in his teammate. Again, something that we're going to see NRG struggle with here today. The cohesion for Torrent has always been one of my favorite parts of this squad, and also the individual prowess as well. Both Smashgg and Kinsey have been some of the best 1v1 players on this planet, meaning they can pull out these mechanical plays out of nowhere. And honestly, we're starting to see it rub off on Zanil as well. Zanil has started to have some of these individual plays that have just kind of left us jaw-dropped. That one left me jaw-dropped for a completely different reason. Luckily enough, Kinsey will clean it up, but with 25 seconds to go, if they make another mistake like that, we could be heading to an overtime.
Oh, Smashgg, my boy, found that redirect angle. Garrett G did just a little bit faster, though. And will allow NRG some time and space downfield. They need this goal here and now. Justin going to put his hand into the mechanical hat, but no dice on that one off the backboard. Maybe trying to get that bump on Smashgg, but nothing going for them. The double tap of the sidewall, burning so much time here. And the general NRG with 0 seconds to drive downfield. It's not enough. And Torrent will take the lead in this series. Game 1 goes to them. Bass, you talked about how they took this contest the last time these two teams met up. Seems like they are well on the path down that way, totaling 12 shots to their name as opposed to 5 from NRG. This was something we touched on just as the series was starting. Hey, bro, they found success when they were able to play out on NRG's half of the field more and more frequently, and Torrent is using the same game plan to great effect.
Yeah, that's the big thing here is, again, that cohesion on offense is not necessarily going to be, exposed as much just because of the fact that we'll have individual plays, we'll have passing plays, we will have moments where, okay, maybe the cohesion isn't there as much, but what do? They just retreat into defense and get prepared to do it all over again. If you don't have that cohesion on defense, though, and the rotations are a little bit broken, then you start to really get exposed in comparison, especially when NRG is forced into 7 saves this game. They had 5 total shots. Zanil alone had more shots than the entirety of NRG at 6 total. 12 total for Torrent as a whole, over doubling the shots at NRG. Just goes to show Torrent locked NRG into their half, did not let them find any sort of comfort, and despite an early showing for NRG, they're going to have to try and keep that up throughout an entire 5-minute period. Game number 2 going to be pretty telling to me. If we see a quick response at NRG, I think we're going to have a back-and-forth series, but if Torrent start to figure out how the weaknesses of this defense continue, it's going to be a problem.
Well, one of the things we discussed, how many options NRG has at their disposal when it comes to moving down onto the offensive side. Solo mechanics have certainly been one of the options that has stood out so far, not only in this series, but on the day as a whole. Garrett G, center pass for Justin. It's not good enough. They cannot find the angle. Miss off the backboard now, and it looks like they might be getting a little bit desperate, just trying to play some theory game. And it's not quite working out for them. They hold on to the offense for the moment, and they continue to do so. I can say Smashgg have to combine to get that one out to the side, and suddenly the pressure is mounting here. Torrent being locked on the back foot. Miss going to take this one up high yet again. Force Smashgg to make a challenge. NRG slowly but surely making progress, starting to steal some boost. Maybe get some bumps too, but Justin can't get it mid.
I wanted that bump to work out in their favor. It would have been huge for NRG to get an early goal and really just sort of reinstill confidence in the squad. This will reinstill confidence, especially if Zanil can embarrass the defense once again. Off the backboard, Kinsey there. He wants the double, will not find it, and as Justin clears this downfield, a scary situation avoided for NRG. It does feel, though, like Torrent, they're finding a lot more open space for them to utilize in this final third. I think NRG are recognizing that them diving at the ball on defense isn't really doing them any good, and as much as they want these booming clears to transition into a solid offense, this is not the same team as Haybro. They're going to need a different game plan if they want to expose the defense out of Torrent. It's possible. Maybe plays like this can be enough, but as Justin doesn't quite get the flip reset, I thought that was the end of the play, but as he 50-50s it off the bar, almost a huge opener for NRG.
Look, all I'm going to say is that should have been a goal. That absolutely should have been a goal. Magic Bear denied by Justin here as well. Oh, that's not looking good. And Zanil actually with the fake play. I like the idea. Justin in the 1v1 cannot beat out Kinsey yet again. And NRG are still desperate to find goals in Game 2 of this series. Honestly, they were getting a little bit desperate to find goals near the end of Game 1.
Oh.
Magic Bear towards the top. Trying for the double tap as well, along with the demolition. You can see that NRG were in an uncomfortable position. Not something that we can say with relative frequency on any competition. And yet here we are, the first 2 minutes seemingly been a back and forth affair. NRG has controlled the majority of it with a couple of quality shots, but Torrent, they are still fighting back relatively well here.
Oh, I would say that they're doing great thus far. It feels like Torrent have been, again, the big thing that kind of changes between this series and Haybro is the fact that Torrent don't look unprepared for what NRG are throwing at them. They look like they understand it's going to be difficult to deal with, but they're not necessarily getting caught off guard by the shots that are being taken and the ways that they are transitioning downfield. Going back to the way that Haybro was able to actually poke holes in this defense, though, was the fact that they were continuing to put on this pressure and not allow NRG out of their own half. I think that's something that the rest of Torrent kind of need to do here as well. Expose this team, make it difficult, and force them into their net. I hate giving credit to chat, because chat, you almost always have hot takes that I disagree with, but the one take you guys did have from the Haybro series that I had to agree with was when Haybro was locking NRG into their net, not even into their final third, was by far when they were the most vulnerable. They would get hesitant on the line, couldn't figure out who was the one to commit from that final line and dive at the ball, and it caused so many problems for them on repeat. This could be a problem here as, Kinsey and Zanil not quite able to connect how they wanted to. Kinsey looking a little bit too close, but another good breakaway play, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. When passivity starts to set into effect for NRG, they can be so exposed.
Feels like, to me, it's all about who's leading the ball downfield. I mean,
Yeah.
Torrent, it's been so impactful for them to get that one player really trailblaze, so to speak. NRG's had similar situations in a couple of spots, but never have you seen that turned into a goal. There's so much confidence. Oh my goodness, talk about confidence! What is going on here? Kinsey just cut out by Garrett. I would have been an open net for sure. And now Zanil for the follow-up, just no boost in the tank on this one. And finally, we'll re-neutralize. And of course, as I say that, Magic Bear pass down to Kinsey. It's beautiful, but not as beautiful as the save from Garrett yet again with the recount on the player with the most experience. Zanil trying now and missed, blocks it away. What a defensive stand for NRG.
The crazy thing to me is that I expect there to be like 28 million shots in favor of Torrent right now. It's 8 shots to 6. It's barely in favor of Torrent. They are getting this offensive explosion. When it comes for them to finally put a solid shot on target, they are struggling to do so. Again, it's great to have final third pressure. It is fantastic to make a team uncomfortable, but it does not matter if you cannot place the shots when it counts most. And they're not going to be able to place anything. A little bit of interruption out of midfield. Justin gets a freebie, and he puts the shot high. That should have been a shot at least on target to continue with the pressure, but as the shot goes wide and it's a quick transition downfield, NRG need to restart their offense for what could be the final time of regulation. That's a big demo though. All of a sudden, Miss taken off the pitch. It's a chance to go the other way. Torrent gonna try and continue with this one and have the final offense of this game. Kinsey bumping Justin in net, but it is not enough. And as Justin sends this one center, it's missed to the backboard. Garrett G to the backboard as well. Justin to the net, and Caden will barely get in the way. Zanil stepping up when it counts, and we head to overtime, game number 2.
Thank goodness for Torrent that they were able to keep that one away. NRG looking deadly with that passing play downfield and already off the face-off. Here's Justin taking it solo over top of Magic Bear. Zanil, the last one, he's able to make the 50-50. Somehow, Torrent have been able to stop Justin on multiple counts. Just before the goal line, even solo in the air. Garrett G looking for the demo. Justin with control. The double tap's not there. Kinsey gets in the way. Magic Bear has to guide this one out as well. And finally, some semblance of control for Torrent. And even as I say that, Garrett G relentlessly pushing into the corner. Justin follows suit, missed available for the follow-up, and it is just NRG throughout this offensive. Garrett G finally down, and Zanil has to block this one away. Kinsey has to get involved, and the ball crosses the midfield barrel for the first time in this OT, immediately for another attack, and Mist may even have a double tap on that one. This is crazy from NRG.
They are throwing everything at offense and hoping something sticks. I like the game plan, but I am a bit concerned because if we get a good breakaway play like this and they're exposed on defense, it's going to be a problem. Luckily enough, a good passing play will connect up with Garrett G and they'll go right back into offense like they were before. A minute into overtime, we are no closer to finding an end, but that's a double commit out of NRG that could leave them exposed. Magic Bear drops it low. Kinsey puts it on target, denied by Garrett G. And Zanil, he will not commit. He'd rather just continue to run interference, make it difficult for a transition out of NRG, and this is where the problems lie for the General. They cannot afford to get locked into their own half. That is where they start to get exposed and where they start to struggle with the pressure that Torrent can output. Luckily enough, though, Justin finds a good touch into the corner. Can he find anything else with it? Flip reset doesn't really go anywhere, but it will go back out to midfield where Garrett G can launch yet another offense for NRG.
Oh, the pass down. Garrett has to play that one into the corner. Miss again, trying to find Justin with that one, but NRG, the exact same story as with Hebro. So much respect for the opposing defense. They know when they can or cannot make a play. Kinsey waits for it down. Two players now beat Garrett G off to the races with Magic Bear, and Justin was there for the cutoff. Missed. Oh my god, the redirect! And Zanil is there to cut it out. I think it might have been just outside, but you don't want to take that risk. And now Justin keeping it in play for NRG. It feels like any moment could be the lethal play for either team at this point, Bass. It's hard to know what to expect. Justin, the double tap off the side while Magic Bear is up for it alongside Zanil. You can tell the nerves are starting to get in play. Kinsey, though, with a diving save here, earns a savior medal. He's second of the game, and NRG continues this onslaught.
I'm glad that you brought up the savior medal here because we've got to talk about the amount of saves in this game thus far. 13 for Torrent, 9 for NRG. Both teams having to play spectacular defense if they want to even stay in this overtime. Well, we've stayed in this overtime for half an extra game here. 2:45 on the clock as we continue trekking through. It feels like NRG have got all the pressure in the world, but we know how this goes. One good breakaway play and Torrent could seal the deal here and take a 2-0 lead on the series. The biggest issue they're running into right now, though, is that they are having to expend all of their boost if they even want to try and get out of their own half. And indeed they will, but they're right back into it again. And Justin with a great redirect will pop that one back into the Torrent half, but it doesn't stay there very long. And as Magic Bear gets a good 50-50, it's up to Zanil to keep this on the half. They fake it out though, and it almost works out as Kinsey puts a shot on, but Justin and the rest of NRG all too prepared for that shot. 3 minutes of play here. We continue to go back and forth. Good shots on either side, but the defense has been stepping up in ways that are unimaginable as yet again another save for Torrent.
Utterly impervious on both sides of the pitch. I have not seen a moment of weakness out of these players in a long time. This might be the first one, Zanil, though cut out by Garrett G, looking for that pass to Magic Bear now towards the backboard. Kinsey with contact in the clutch there. Dropping out to the corner. Magic Bear just wants to reset this one, and with good reason, but Justin finds Garrett G towards the corner. Zanil can't make early contact on that one. Magic Bear 50-50 by Justin. They're vying for control constantly. Still with the read against the pass from Mist, and they'll find a clearance downfield. You want that breakout. They are still they're just still looking for it. I don't even know what to think about this game so far. Mist the 50-50 against Magic Bear. Again, no weakness out of either one of these stalwart defenses. Utter bastions at this point. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect out of this one. It's going to be the first breakaway. It's going to have to be a solo play, but everybody in the field, so much respect for each of the other players. Finally, NRG with something of an opportunity here. Garrett, though, cannot find the bump. Magic Bear completely free downfield, and Torrent have a 2-game advantage on the general NRG.
And this is why I said they can try and put on as much pressure as they want, but all it takes is one good breakaway, and Torrent, they do not miss their opportunity. Do not just strike while the iron is hot. They smash straight through it and break into an iron sword that they wield with utter control. Torrent, I don't know what to say, but well done to you. This is everything we were hoping for, and honestly, that is everything I'm hoping for out of my boy Zanil. 800 points. He didn't even carry the team. It's not even fair to say that he carried the team, but man, for a rookie in this season to step up like this, it's as if he's been here the entire year long.
Absolute immaculate gameplay. Those are the 3 words that best describe what we just saw It's a completely theory-based game of Rocket League out there. Each player, as I mentioned, so much respect for each and every other player on the field. Realistically, all that we saw this game come down to was a rotational mistake on the NRG side that allowed a shot in from Torrent. But you look at this, 13 saves on the side of Torrent, 10 saves on the side of NRG. Each and every player getting involved on both teams. There is no better competition in Rocket League history than what you're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm. The crazy thing is also we just came off a series that you and I were basically both arguing was like, yeah, this could be the series of the day. It's crazy. It's going back and forth. Look at both teams just absolutely going crazy. And then all of a sudden we get into this one and go, uh-oh. Have we already called this one a little bit too early? Honestly, Torrent, they're hoping to call this one here in game number 3. If they're able to get their 3rd win in a row, it requires a reverse sweep out of NRG in a best of 7. We have only seen, I think it's something like 20 of those in RLCS history. And I'm not even talking about just in RLCS, but I'm talking about in just RLCS level competitions. So if they find one here today, it would be miraculous, but let's see if they can prevent it altogether. Game number 3 underway. This is, I'm not going to say a must win for NRG, but it's pretty damn close.
That it is. I gotta be honest with you, my hands are shaking more than they ever have my entire life. 30 seconds off this clock already, and I'm just over here. I'm having the greatest time I ever have had casting Rocket League. NRG, though, they are certainly struggling. They're definitely not on board with my sentiments there. We'll have to see some more solid defense, some more solid offense. Somehow, they have to break through Torrent. Completely shut out 9 minutes of consecutive play time, and they were unable to score. It makes 10 now as we pass the first minute of play here in just a moment. Magic there. So much control on that one. Mist will get it past. And I think the real question, Bass, we talked about one of the big points of discussion for me, how many options NRG has. So solid on defense, so solid on offense, passing plays, individual mechanics, demolitions, the whole 9 yards. And they were unable to break the goal line parallel even with all of these things to their credit.
I don't even know what to think about that, to be honest. Now that I sort of take into account what they've been firing at Torrent, you'd have to expect something's going to give, but that's kind of the biggest thing for me about that last game, is that it was a shutout against NRG. It was not just that we went to overtime, it was not just that it was a close series, it was the fact that NRG, despite 9 minutes of play, still couldn't even find a single goal. Uh-oh, and they might concede one already.
No
Magic
way.
Bear with the clear lane! And indeed, he will find the opener here in game number 3. We are going on, what? Is this like 12 minutes without an NRG goal? They even lost game number 1 after conceding goals like 2 minutes left.
One of the most fortuitous mentals in the game, surely. This team that had the ice all the way back in Season 5 to score a 0-second goal, and they cannot find a way to crack Torrent right now. They find themselves trailing with the prospect of being down 3-0 on match point in the semifinals of the AAACS Super Challenger event number 2. I cannot believe that I even just had to say that sentence.
Honestly, I don't know what to say at this point here. I don't believe any of the sentences that have come out of my mouth here tonight. Whether it be the fact that Lil Step Rose gave what is the most impeccable performance against Ghost Gaming we've seen in quite some time. Whether it's the fact that Torrent come into this one just dismantling NRG on repeat. Oh. They do it one more time. Kinsey with a pre-flip and so daintily touches this one around the last defender. This is just so pretty.
NRG needs a response. When you see Justin pre-jumping that play with 39 boosts in the tank, far more than enough to make any imaginable play against that kind of a shot angle. When you see Justin losing out in a mental battle in that situation, you know things are going poorly for NRG. Y'all fans in the chat better get a little bit more hyperactive, because things are not going well for your boys. But Torrent, on the other hand, have got to be feeling out of their minds confident right now, and we have seen that reflected in the gameplay from all 3 of their players. As I said before, Magic Bear, the one to really put this team on the map and just completely beat out the NRG midfield on that last play, along with Zanil and Kinsey. I mean, there's been question marks surrounding this team in the past, but it feels like there are no questions about their dominance in this series so far.
No, there are no questions whatsoever. And to sort of go back to what you were talking about, how Magic Bear, the ignition for this team, back when they were not even called Torrent, when they were Alpine Esports.
Kinsey?
Honestly, you know what? I'm just going to let Kinsey run this one out, and I don't even think we need to comment on this goal. This is just what they've been doing all series.
How in the world is it that Torrent have been so consistently more quick to the ball than the general NRG in this series? I do not know. And yet, they continue to produce results. You talk about the cohesion. Talk about the cohesion, Best. That's clearly what's putting them a hand up.
Honestly, I really do think that's what it is here, is that in a game where the speed and the rotations have separated the two teams, Torrent have just been together for so long. Again, this is not really for me to discredit NRG and say, oh, they don't have good rotations. They're playing with a sub today. You can only do so much when you have a brand new player on your team. But you know what? Now that we've got 90 seconds to go, and now that this one's looking not set in stone, but pretty difficult for NRG to turn this one around, I'll go back to what is my previous point talking about Torrent before they were Torrent, back when they were Alpine, and back when NRG was just taking game after game after game after game after them. I'm looking at this right now. Since the ESPN Esports Invitational back in 2020, NRG went on to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 wins in a row against Alpine at the time. They switched to Torrent, take 2 more, 12 total. Finally, Torrent get their first win in NA event number 2, where NRG then go back to beat them in the lower bracket 1-4. This is not just a big win for Torrent, this would be the biggest win they ever have over NRG in a long-spanning history where NRG has dominated this team time and time again. And it's not just them taking the win here, it's the win to send them to their redemption for a poor event number 6. They will redeem themselves in super event number 2. This is huge for Torrent. They have not finished the deal yet, but it is feeling oh so close, because if they go for yet another shutout in a row, NRG, they're going to have to scramble to turn it around.
A reverse sweep here. All that remains as far as NRG's odds, unless they can get something back. But even the post has something to say about it. Magic Bear getting just enough. And Bass. The NRG fans in the chat, it's not over yet. We have seen this team come back from unimaginable depths. And yet, the way they've been performing of late, even with Mist on the team, okay, I will admit, playing with a sub, it's tough. We have seen them do crazy things in the past. Even with this being said, this split, it's not gone their way. They didn't make it out to the major, but with Worlds looming on the horizon, we know that they will be out there. They've got to start pulling some results. Here against Torrent, who undoubtedly look like they are in complete control of this series up to this point. 5 shots and 3 goals is a ridiculous scoring percentage against one of the best teams in the world, or at least, you know, I would have argued they were one of the best teams in the world up until maybe this point. I mean, a 4-0 defeat would be devastating.
Honestly, you know what's devastating to me is the fact that after what was an immaculate performance out of Zenil in the last game, he finishes on the bottom of the scoreboard without a shot in this one. Torrent are showing that, hey, not only can we beat you guys, we can beat you with whatever offense we want. We don't even need to have Zenil at the front of this one to be enough to take you down. Here it goes. Here will be history. Can Torrent take their second win ever over NRG? To be fair, last time they got the win, they did it in a sweep. Can they do it again?
At this point, I'm hard-pressed to say that they won't. But we will find out here. Neo Tokyo, maybe the final resting place of NRG's chances to take that #1 spot. And again, they need a win either here in the 3rd place tiebreaker in order to make it out to the main event at the end of the summer. So the stakes, I mean, they could be a little bit higher, but not by much. Vlad's in the orange. Been able to hold off Torrent for now. Kinsey almost with some contact there. Maybe trying to make it a little bit more difficult for the defense. Zenil keeps this one in the zone. Maybe looking towards the center. No, they're going to try to do it all by themselves. And Mist will be able to play it away. But Bass, this first goal is going to have heavy implications. NRG have to defend this one as well. But it has been almost 15 minutes of gameplay without a single goal for NRG.
I think it's been over 15 minutes at this point, because we're a minute into this game. Garrett, can you break the streak here? Off the backboard, but denied once again by Zenil. Dude, Zenil's been doing it all, and now he's running distraction on the other end. Pops it to the backboard, maybe not able to get the shot on target, but King Caden, that's all I really got to say at this point here. Zenil has proven himself to not just be one of the best rookies coming into RLCS, but to be... Do I have to say anything else? I think that stands for itself. What on earth, Zenil?
Kinsey got a little bit of a cheesy touch there off the corner bounce as well. NRG, can they even buy a goal at this point is the real question. Like I've been saying, they bring so much to the table. Their deck is full of deadly cards, and yet they still struggle, even now, to find some way to break this Torrent defense, even breaking the Torrent midfield. They get completely 50-50 out there. Zenil for the low shot, and Garrett G has to bail out Mist on the goal line. They'll find some progress, but how many times is it that we've seen this already?
Honestly, Kinsey, I don't think we're allowed to show that, my guy. You're literally bullying everybody. You get past all 3 of the oncoming offensive players, and then you bump the final player in net. This is just rude of you at this point here. And honestly, it's a bit rude that Torrent haven't let NRG score in what I believe is like 18 minutes now. It has continued to go on that NRG just can't even find themselves a solid shot, I would say, at this point. The shots they have taken have been solidly turned away by everyone on the Torrent defense. Yes, it's a last-second save out of Zenil on the last one, but he's still easily able to capture that, turn it downfield, and turn into yet another offense. NRG, they need to flip the switch. Something's got to change for this team if they want a chance at just staying in this series. Otherwise, we're going home with a sweep. Well, not going home. They'll go to the third-place match where they'll try and get themselves at least a little bit of change in their pocket and a chance at that championship at the end of summer. But again, you ask, can they buy a goal? The price is going to be pretty high. When second place is a guaranteed $700, unless they're paying $700 a goal, I don't think it's going to work out.
Oh, but they still have a chance. They've been on the offense for some time now, with a lot of good looks at the net, and still, Torrent are able to hold strong. NRG towards the mid, has Justin to work with, straight down. Magic Bear with just that little bit of contact to send it out towards the corner, though. Less than 2 minutes to play, and we still search for a leader in what could be the final game of this series. They're just being made to look silly. Kinsey delivers to Zenil towards the top corner. It's not quite there, and Mist will find a bit of a clearance over towards Justin. Now Garrett G trying to find this passing play. Still nothing doing. Magic Bear with the reads. It feels like no passing play is effective enough. No solo play is impactful enough to keep this Torrent defense guessing. They are all over it every single way.
I mean, but you got to give credit where it's due as well. NRG finally holding off the offensive onslaught that has been Torrent throughout this series.
Oh,
I'm going to jinx it, aren't I?
Soon.
Yep. Caster Curse, baby. It had to show at some point today, and you know what? I'm okay if it's my boy Zenil who's going to be the one to correct me. Torrent with 70 to go, looking to close out the series in a sweep.
I don't care how much experience you have, even the world champions cannot keep Zenil from placing that one in the perfect spot. 72 seconds to go before Torrent are able to take their second ever win against NRG in a 4-0 sweep, and what a save from Zenil, coming across straight over to Kinsey as well with a transition out to put us into the final minute of play.
Oh, missed though. This is going to be an awkward position. If Magic Bear drills this, it could be the end of the game. All 3 players commit. Magic Bear finds a demo, and at this point, Zenil, he's going to toy with the defense. He's going to keep it close and make it difficult. 50 seconds to go, and honestly, that's the way to do it. Don't necessarily put shots on target if it's going to leave you vulnerable. But speaking of vulnerabilities, breakaway play. Garrett not able to get past Zenil, and Justin not able to get past Magic Bear. And that might just seal the deal, as once again, Torrent march downfield and can slowly tick away at this time. At this point, NRG are not just fighting Torrent, they are fighting Father Time as well. Every second that ticks is going to be all the more difficult to turn this one around, especially if you can't stop Magic Bear. 23 to go and a 2-0 lead to Torrent.
No understating his performance. Absolutely impeccable from Torrent so far. They only have to hold on for 23 seconds with a 2-goal lead. They have shut out NRG for 3 games straight. Unless they concede something here. Justin, desperate in the air with 0 contact. How many times is it that you can say that NRG come out with a whiff? Garrett G down to the mid, denied by Magic Bear. The seconds begin to tick, and the announcer is brutal right now. 5 to go. Mist in the air. They need it right now. No time left to score again. Garrett G for the last desperate play, and Torrent with a dominant performance. Take down, tear down NRG at that.
They do it in 25 minutes of shutout. NRG did not score a goal since game number 1 of this series. And I'm pretty sure that they scored those first goals very quickly. There was probably 2 to 3 minutes left before they stopped scoring, meaning they go 3 minutes in game number 1. They go 10 minutes in game number 2 with that 5-minute overtime. They go another 5 in each of the 2 games to finish it off. That is almost 27 minutes of play without a single goal in favor of NRG. That is not just dominance, that is making me think Torrent is here to take this entire tournament.